What's going on, guys? JPA Trades here. Today we're going to be going over the AMD trade we took in the challenge account. Took us over $3,000. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And on a note, if you feel like being real awesome, why not join and become channel member 2? Get a cool little astronaut head by your name. But let's get into it. The AMD trade today. So we'll just go to the trade itself at first. So as you guys know, sharing with you exactly how many contracts I buy in this challenge account, all my entries and exits, everything that goes along with it, so you can see into my few brain cells I got left working. So 10:03 a.m. we went ahead and bought some AMDs. So the daily, it just looks like a green bar, but just go to the 1 minute just so we can really get a grasp for what we did here. So we bought right in there over here, that big mountaintop up, and you go. So let's find the 10:03 candle right here. So we bought 161.25, which we bought right about the high of that candle because it kept going higher. But we bought here. We could have done a lot better. It made it all the way to 162. Really should have waited that extra 75 cents. But I wanted to make sure you guys had time to get in. But why did I pick here and why did it work so well? So as always, guys, and I've shared this in basically all the charts I've always posted, is I love me a good wick. The wick masons. What do they mean? So let's get back to this daily chart. So pretty crazy nonstop green for AMD, which is awesome if you're a long-term holder of AMD. But uh, I mean, you see kind of what happens is AMD likes to have a few greens ups and then cascades down, which is kind of, again, not exactly why I bought these puts today, but just kind of a pattern I recognize. I like patterns, but I tend to like wicks a lot more than patterns. So what I'm going to do, guys, is what I always do. So I always tell you, like, hey, the long crazy wicks I always like to take a look at. So we're just going to put little arrows on them for everybody. Like, hey, these are pretty long and crazy. What's the deal with these? And I'll do them on the tops just so we can see them for a few, but I'm just gonna stick to doing the bottoms. So like these ones, yeah, I kind of like what I don't care about, like all these little ones here where they're not very big. Eh, I care more so about like the long drawn down ones, which we had a ton of just weird days at AMD where all those like levels piled up. So what you can kind of do is just I like to just make a little range if it'll do it nice for me here, which it's going to be too high, but just to kind of give you what we're looking for here, just to make a quick little box of what I was prepared to do today. So 160.25 we knew was part of that range, and 163.8, which, as I say, like, hey, I'm willing to risk 50% down on my calls and puts, which could have gone lower. It ended up working really well because there was another level here, like that 162.8. We only made it to 162. There was another one, 161.59. Like there was so many spots where people were doing and going crazy, like over 160, that I've just figured, hey, so much happened kind of in here. And same thing on the way up and down. Like so many of these levels just kept getting repeating. And AMD is one of those stocks where it just tends to, I don't know what it is with AMD, but when it sells down, like you can see it, like we're gonna get a little messy here. So, but like if it goes up 21% in a week and 4 days, and then all of a sudden from the top it goes down 33% in 3 weeks, which again, you might say, oh, well, that's just a one off thing. Everything tanked that day. Oh, yeah, well, what about the last time it did it where we go up? Same thing, just pick an arbitrary. Of course, this is over exaggerating. 40% in 2 weeks. And then from the tippy top, we go down 37% in 2 months. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it has those really nice spikes up and down. And I used to play AMD a ton, and I'm always always watching it. One of my favorite stocks, favoriteest stocks to watch. But it moves really nice. The contracts and premiums aren't too bad now that Nvidia split. Nvidia and AMD are basically same price, air quotes, same price, $40 off, but $100, $200 stock. So I think it has some really nice premium opportunity in there for us. So just in general, here's where all these wicks and stuff that I tell you guys to watch came to mind to take that puts today. And then just kind of going back to where we sold. I know in the picture I posted today, it looks really, really nice because bam, I got a 200% screenshot sell right there. But as always, guys, that's the big account. So the big account, we're just walking that baby all the way down. So we buy at 1, big account first trim, 1.5 was somewhere in here. 2.0 might have been here, 2.5 might have been here, and 3.05 was here. And big account, it's so easy to like walk things up and walk things down. And that's kind of what I stress with you guys is if you could just get that snowball rolling, there's so many opportunities out there to kind of stick with it and get that bigger gains. Because the small account, I'm going to walk through these sales with you real quick just to show you because like it was working really well right off the bat. I took some of the money even earlier than I needed to. So as always, we bought it. Everyone was doubting. So started to get some movement, 22%, and then I hit our 50% trim, like I said, in the main account. But then we got to like, what was it? So 1.65, but I think we got there in literally like half an hour. And I was like, all right, we might see a little bounce back up because it was really just dropping hard, but it was spiking hard at the same time. So since it was same thing, smaller account, I needed to lock in some profits. So I sold basically half of them for 65%, which is much more like I usually sell about 25% at each level as I walk my way out every 50% of the big account. So you're already taking a big gain, which is awesome because we're above 3,000 now. And if you notice, once as soon as I get to 100%, so right here with the challenge account, sold for more than 100%. So we're basically only down to 2 contracts now, which is awesome. So no harm, no foul. But same thing, I'm only out 40% of my total contracts in the big account, but in the small account, I'm out basically 85% of my total contracts. So that's where if this big move happens and for whatever reason, AMD just decides, let's get back to the daily, like to just start giving up some, like it's literally gone up some days. Like what's the low of the day here? It's like 148 to 162 in one day. Like that's pretty crazy. So is it possible that could happen again? Yeah. Could we see a 10-point drop in AMD just right like that, and then those remaining puts, you're rich? Yeah, and that's great. But I'm never, if you only have $100 or $200 and you only have 1 or 2 contracts, it's almost impossible to hold those things the whole way through. So that's what I'm trying to, like, I'm just trying to set reasonable expectations for everybody. With like, I didn't do like $1,000 to $1 million or 10,000 or some arbitrary number. Like 1,000 to 5,000, I felt is difficult, but is a pretty obtainable target. And same thing, once you have $5,000, you can do five contracts, $100 each, and you can walk your way out 50% for 1 or 2, 100% for 1 or 2, and then have 1 or 2 left to do what you want. And then next play, just kind of size up. I hope that kind of with this challenge account, like obviously it's much more risky where I'm risking 50% of the portfolio with 50% stop. But with 5,000, if you did 20% of the portfolio with 50% stop, you're still getting $1,000 worth of exposure, and that's a ton of money to play with for cycling in and out of things. It's all about just kind of learning your risk management, having your plan. So I might have rambled a little bit in this one, but stayed on target. You know, we're doing better. If you have any questions, hey, drop it on Twitter, drop it in the comments. I know days like this, I get a bunch of them, so I might not respond as much as I could, but I'll try to do better. Hope you guys made a bunch of money today, and we'll see you out there next time.